Hi guys, welcome to Jeanette and her puzzles. I have a mystery puzzle for you today, which means that my sister's gonna be in the video as well, and let me show you the puzzle we are gonna be doing today. It's a 1000-piece puzzle by BePuzzled, and the title of this one is the Orient Express. So here's the mystery puzzle without the picture, and I think it's time for me to tell you the story. All aboard for Strasbourg, Munich, Vienna. The words faded away as Hercule Poirot boarded the Orient Express. "Welcome, Monsieur Poirot," greeted Omar Barrett. "Greetings, Omar." Barrett showed him to cabin 31 and hurried back to the coach door to attend to other arriving patrons. The influx of new passengers continued. "I am Sergei Mikhailo," the next passenger to board said to the train guard. "We have had to change your cabin, Mr. Mikhailo, since we have an extra passenger. I'm sorry, but you'll have to share your stateroom." "You mean I have 3 cabin mates?" Mikhailo asked, pointing out the inner door connecting it to cabin 34. "No, only one, Mr. Hercule." Walter Rankin came on board, followed by Gustave Dubois. Barrett explained to Dubois how the adjoining door in his cabin connected to the neighboring cabin with 2 men. "2 men?" Dubois remarked. Meanwhile, the next passenger, Count Hercule, had arrived, who had also been told that he would now have to share his stateroom. Within a short time, the Orient Express was on its way. After more than 6 hours, the train stopped in Strasbourg. It was here that Marie-Lautrec boarded and took the final unoccupied cabin, number 35, between Mr. Dubois and Mr. Ivanovich. Again, Barrett had to apologize and explain the need for the change of cabins. It was after 2 a.m. and all the passengers were asleep, with the exception of Mikhailo and Walter Rankin, who were talking in the dining car. On the second day, Poirot noticed a woman exiting what he thought was Walter Rankin's cabin. "Excuse me, mademoiselle," he called down the hallway. "Are you an occupant of that compartment?" "No, I'm not," she replied. "My name is Jane Marple and I'm in seat 61. I overheard a gentleman in the dining car say he was in cabin 37, so I thought now would be a good chance to stick my head in and see what a sleeping cabin looks like. There are things you could stand accused of, entering into another person's cabin uninvited." "Then I apologize for my intrusion, and if my actions offended your sensibilities, Mr. Poirot. Hercule Poirot. So you have no berth on this train?" "No, I'm quite comfortable sitting during the journey. I was just curious what the cabins looked like." The following morning, Poirot was awakened by a loud knocking at his cabin door. Upon opening it, he saw Barrett standing there, visibly shaken. "Sorry to disturb you," the man said in quavering voice. "Mr. Dubois, in cabin 34. He told me to wake him every morning at 6:30 and bring him an orange juice so he could take his medicine. He said if he didn't answer, I should use my passkey to open the door and leave the juice on the nightstand." "And? I guess this is leading somewhere," Poirot said impatiently. "Yes. When I used my passkey this morning, I saw him lying on the floor beside the bed, face down, with blood on his head. He looked dead. I didn't touch him, I just ran here to your compartment. Go back to the room and lock it. I will make myself presentable and be there momentarily." The body was lying on the floor, face down, shirtless. There was no sign of a struggle. His suitcase lay open on the bed, revealing a depression where something once was, but was no longer. The wound showed an indentation in the skull from a heavy, sharp-edged object. The dried blood suggested the murder had taken place last evening. Nothing in the room has been disturbed. On the small table there was a book, Putovanje kroz Kraljevinu Jugoslaviju. Poirot called out to Barrett. "Round up everybody in the car, plus Miss Marple in seat 61, and ask them to congregate in the dining car." Poirot began addressing the group assembled in the dining car and informed them of the murder that had taken place. "I'm not just Hercule Poirot, who some of you have met, but Hercule Poirot, the detective. Omar, please, when we arrive in Belgrade, arrange for the removal of Monsieur Dubois' body and inform the authorities to meet the train in Sofia." He turned to Miss Marple. "Since you seem to possess some curiosity about our sleeping car, may I ask you why you are on this train?" "Certainly, Detective Poirot. I'm travelling to Sofia to visit my nephew, who is there researching his latest book." "Speaking of books," the detective abruptly changed course, turning away from Miss Marple. "There was a book in Monsieur Dubois' cabin titled Putovanje kroz Kraljevinu Jugoslaviju, which translates into Travels Through the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. You are from Yugoslavia, monsieur, are you not?" Poirot pointed to the handsome young man from cabin 36. "Yes, this is true." Can we hear your name, sir?" "Ivan Ivanovich, but everybody calls me Hugo because I come from Yugoslavia." "Well, Hugo, Poirot continued, missing the name-country connection. Please tell me when you were in Monsieur de Bois' cabin. I wasn't. I was reading the book in the dining car and he asked me if he could borrow it. Wait a minute, the American interrupted. Who was the dead guy anyway, and why do I have to sit here and listen to this? Ah, you're quite right, Mr. Rankin. The dead guy was Gustave Dubois, executive director of Asia Public. He had connections with steel and automobile manufacturing companies, but there was no indication of whom he expected to visit on this trip. His ticket was to Istanbul, but he had no business connections in that city. And you have to sit here and listen to this because you left the US owing a considerable amount of money, and the dissolution of your firm was a direct result of the control asserted by Asia Public, run by Monsieur Dubois, the dead guy. Holy cow, I had no idea who this guy was. Poirot decided to move on. Getting back to you, Hugo. You were about to tell us that Monsieur Dubois' company was negotiating to purchase the company you work for, and that the rumors are that many people in the factory would likely be laid off if the purchase were to happen. So if you know all this, then there is nothing more to tell you. Maybe so, maybe not. Mademoiselle Lautrec. Poirot's abrupt migration to another suspect was as direct as turning pages in a book. You joined us in Strasbourg. Yes, that's where I live. And work? I am an artist, a dancer. A fair profession, Poirot commented, then asked where she was going. To Istanbul, yes, for a little vacation, she added. Moving on, he began to call out. Count, you're in the room next to the victim, Gustave Dubois, an adjoining room, which was not locked from Monsieur Dubois' side. But it was locked on my side. Still, someone could have unlocked it from your cabin, entered Dubois' cabin, and then exited again through your cabin, relocking it. I did nothing of the sort. You should talk to the crazy Russian. I would not do such a thing. Poirot stopped listening, turning his attention to an announcement being made that they were pulling into Belgrade station. There, Barrett was busy seeing to the quiet removal of the corpse. To continue, I wanted to ask you, Mademoiselle Van de Graaff, whether you are related to American physicist Robert J. Van de Graaff, inventor of the Van de Graaff generator in 1929. Fortunately not, since I am Dutch and single, and he is of Dutch roots, handsome, very wealthy now, and still single. Except for the Dutch part, the same could be said about Monsieur Dubois, but I didn't know Mr. Dubois. In any case, I expected there might be even better prospects in the Para Palace Hotel in Istanbul, where I will be staying if we ever get there. At that moment, the train lurched to a stop, pitching some passengers forward and causing a few items to fall on the floor. Barrett went to investigate and returned to report that there had been an avalanche. We'll be stuck here for some time, Barrett forewarned. I guess that means it will be a while before we reach Sofia and the Interpol agents who should be waiting there. Perhaps we can solve this crime in the meantime. Poirot went on with his questioning. Sergei Mikhailov, whom your cabin mate referred to as Crazy Russian. I understand that you work for Zastava Automobiles. Mikhailov confirmed with a nod. Zastava is the sister company to the one Hugo works for, and as with the other company, if Asia Public bought out Zastava, you might find yourself looking for work at a time when work was hard to find. Is that not right? But I didn't know the man. I never saw him before this trip. I never even saw a photo of him. And yet, you were in a cabin that adjoined his, giving you access to his cabin through the unlocked door. I had no way of knowing the man was on this train. Even though I saw the boy in the dining car, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was the person in the adjoining cabin. Thank you all for your cooperation so far. There are no intentional murderers in this group, that I can tell, which would make the killing an encounter that went wrong. And there is definitely something missing from Monsieur Dubois' room. I think something was taken, but nothing was stolen. Now see if you can solve the mystery of who killed Gustave Dubois. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried about putting this puzzle together because the last BePuzzled puzzle I assembled, it was quite difficult and it took me a long time to do it. So first I had to check the quality of the puzzle, and as soon as I saw it's all random grit cut pieces, it calmed me down quite a lot. Because when you see all different shapes, you know that the puzzle is going to be a lot easier to assemble. And I have to say that the assembly of this puzzle was so easy. Like, I was not expecting that. Because the last BePuzzled puzzle took me, I think, 7 hours to complete. This one today took me 3 hours and 7 minutes, which is basically insane time for a 1,000-piece puzzle, especially with not having a picture. So I'm really impressed with how quickly this went, and I'm just hoping that the mystery is not going to be as difficult as the Glenmore Haunting one. So the puzzle was really simple to assemble because it has so many specific sections and textures and colors. So it was quite easy, even when I was doing the sorting, to know exactly like what to put together. So the assembly was so much easier than I ever expected it to be. And it was quite a bright puzzle, which again helps as well, because the Glenmore Haunting one that I keep comparing it to was really dark, and everything was like in the shades of grey, blue and purple, like really like deep dark colours. So this one was the complete opposite of the last one, and it was really enjoyable to assemble. The one thing I would say that bothered me a little bit about this puzzle is there was quite a lot of puzzle dust, and I've noticed it as soon as I opened the bag because it was already on my fingers. That's why I decided I'm gonna put all of the pieces into the box and then just take them out separately. So I had a lot of puzzle dust stay in the box, which helped a lot, but still quite a lot of puzzle dust. So as per normal procedure, I'm gonna go and meet my sister downstairs so we can solve the mystery together, and hopefully it's gonna go better than the last time. And if you don't want to see any spoilers or anything about this puzzle, make sure to skip towards the end.
So we just read the story and now we're trying to figure out whose cabin this is. I don't think it's his. These are, I think, his letters, because this is a woman's cabin and it says Marie, someone who boarded in Strasbourg, Istanbul, round trip.
Cabin 35.
He said something was missing from his cabin, but it was not stolen. What if he was talking about the letters?
I'm just thinking, because this one is different than the last one we did, right?
Yeah.
So the last one had like, who killed someone, then what was missing, there were like 3 questions, but with this one it's just like, who killed him?
But he also said that it was an accident, so it wasn't intentional, and that something is missing but it's not stolen. So that's what I'm saying, if she took the letters and they technically belong to her, it's not stolen, it's just missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'm not sure who boarded in Strasbourg. The dancer. Who joined us in Strasbourg, because this one, maybe it's her. Maybe it's gonna be really easy.
I think it could be her because it's got pearls.
Oh yeah, she's a dancer. These are dancer shoes.
Yep.
Okay, so this is her cabin. Yay, we got one thing right. And Paris, Cancan, no. Is it too much on the nose? No.
Could that be the object he was killed with? Because it was like a sharp.
Yes, I think so.
But does it have any blood on it?
Okay, so we have to say who killed him and what was missing. But is that it?
I think
that's so simple.
Well, if we are right. If we are not right, then it's not that simple.
I think they were kind of lovers. We have the picture and they're also been sending the letters to each other. That's my guess.
I don't know if that's a mistake, but can you see the camera printed here?
Yes, this is weird.
Yeah,
because
that could be a printing mistake.
I mean, I can read a little bit to see if we're on the right track.
Oh, the solution.
Yes. Oh, we need a mirror. So we have the mirror. And I can start.
Does it give you clues or is it just straight up solution?
So far, Miss Marple, it's not high enough, tall enough, because of the blow to the head. That's all that I found out so far. Mademoiselle Van de Graaf would have preferred to snare the man rather than snare him.
Which one is the dancer?
I think it's Mademoiselle Van der Graaf. So,
okay,
we've
got
again.
Nothing.
That one is L'Autre. Oh yeah, Mademoiselle. Oh,
Yeah.
so...
Oh, Marie-Lautrec.
Oh, yeah, so we were right. We just
Okay.
switched them.
Yeah,
just-
the tall, slender woman.
Yeah, also there are two, Lautrec, and she joined us in Strasbourg. So this is Lautrec. Okay. I thought there was just one, the dancer. So I can continue reading because we already knew that Miss Marple. Okay. I can continue reading. Everyone else had a motive, except with the exception of Mademoiselle Lautrec, who claims she knew nothing of the victim. But she can be lying, and that's the point. She's obviously lying. This is a lie. She knew him, period. So he's kind of saying that he's ruling everyone out, except Lautrec.
Okay.
And he
So
said...
you got one right.
Yeah, he said, how could you afford such an expensive holiday as a dancer?
Maybe she was here to kill him. Maybe it wasn't even an accident.
When Barat told the boy that he has other door leading to two men, those two men, he was surprised. Because she was supposed to be in the other cabin, because they were lovers. But they changed her ticket, and there were two men, and that's why he was surprised, okay? Okay, so he said so far that Dubois couldn't be risked seeing with a can-can dancer. That's why the secrecy, and that's why when they switched the cabins, he couldn't do much about it. Okay. Oh, and then Poirot said, opened her suitcase, and now she wailed. I didn't mean to kill him.
Oh, she admitted it.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I loved him and he loved me. This was really easy. This was too easy.
Oh my god!
This was really easy.
That's not even. I mean, come on.
Man, no, it's not.
I mean, the last one was made up.
Yeah.
So it was like you couldn't figure it out.
No.
You couldn't. And this one is just everything's written in for you.
I mean, it's really easy.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes, that he gave her back the letters. That's why he said something was missing but not stolen, because he wanted to break up with her. He said, I cannot destroy them, but so I have to return them to you. So that's the letters, and he also brought the souvenir from Paris. And then she snapped, she grabbed the Eiffel Tower and...
Oh, I was right.
Yeah, this is it. This is really easy. Or we are amazing.
I mean, this is the second puzzle we've tried so far.
Or maybe
sense.
It's because we have a new detective.
I still prefer the exit puzzles.
No.
Over this is...
What I also don't... I mean, that's just me personally, but what I don't like is there are really long stories to read, and then you have to remember all the names and the details, and it's just... For me, that's not really fun. But that's me. That's why I prefer the exit puzzle, because you don't have anything like this. You just go into the puzzle. So.
But I actually thought because with last one it was so many different details and we actually had to figure it out.
Yeah.
But with this one it was just like...
No, everything was...
Yeah, it's just written on the puzzle.
The name of her is written here. If her name wasn't here, and then we would know, oh, we have the letters, we have the picture, oh, someone that boarded in Strasbourg, then we would have to think about it. Oh, we see it's a woman, but the name is here. Yeah. It's kind of on the nose. Bam. Yeah,
it was a bit bad.
And this is apparently a mistake.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
It's the camera.
Yeah.
Reprinted, that was a printing mistake, I think.
That's the mystery solved.
Yeah, too easy. So I think you should go and watch the first one we did, because that one was a real struggle.
It was a real struggle.
It was a real struggle.
So I will link it here. She will link it here.
Okay. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.